What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Vosteed Knives Psyop. This is in via, of course, the Lefty passaround group, and I was really excited to get my hands on this. I was pretty far down in the, down the list for guys getting to check this out, so I was a little bit late to the party compared to a lot of other people out there. So I was really stoked to get this in, and not that it let me down, but the knife just didn't do what I thought it was going to do for me. I thought that I was going to just fall in love with it. I thought, just from looking at it and watching videos, the design is awesome. I really like, a lot of the aspects of it. It just, it fell a little bit short there. I still really like the knife. I think it's a good knife. I just don't think, I don't know, it just, you guys know when you have these expectations, and not just, this doesn't just pertain to like knives and stuff like that. It can pertain to anything that you have your eye on for quite some time, and you're waiting for it, and you finally get it in, you finally, experience it, and it just kind of lets you down a little bit. It just doesn't, you think it's going to be 110, and it comes in at like an 85. Still good, but just not what you were expecting, and that's kind of where I was with the Psyop. At the end of the day, still a really good knife, just maybe not what I was expecting for it. There's just, it just didn't give me the fizzy wizzies, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the review. I will leave a link to Vosteed's website down below, where you can check out all 5 variations of this knife. 3 of them are currently in stock. 2 of them are sold out. We'll get to the variations after the materials, but jumping right into the materials, you guys can see that this is rocking some beautiful titanium scales. It has a nice pop of color there on the pivot collar. This version is rocking this milling pattern right there, kind of this cross-cut X pattern. You got a backspacer right there. This is rocking the top liner lock from Vosteed. It's what they've been using on a lot of their models recently. I like it. I don't love it. It operates the same as almost a button lock, but it's like a button lock and a compression lock from Spyderco kind of had a kid, and that's what you get with the top liner lock. You get a front flipper, hole for deployment, jimping all the way down there. You get a milled titanium pot clip that is righty only, but I really love the way this clip functions and looks. Has a nice fat end to it, so it slides in and out of pocket very easily. You got a drop point L-Max blade with a beautiful choil right there. It says Vosteed. L-Max right there. And this knife design is from Jeff Blavault, aka Tough Knives. This was the first collaboration between him and Vosteed, but really like the swedge building up top here. Got satin there on the blade, and again, L-Max is a great steel. A little bit thicker of a knife, kind of, beefier handles. But all in all, great materials. L-Max titanium, multiple ways of deploying the knife. Whoops. Beautiful milled titanium clip. The works. So we're going to go 5 out of 5 on the materials. Now some quick specs. So blade length on the Psyop is 3.32 inches. You get an overall length of tip to butt of 8.01, so just over 8 inches. You get a blade thickness of 0.138. It comes in weighing, you get a handle or closed length of 4.7, and it comes in weighing 4.66 ounces. So definitely a little bit on the heavier side. There is plenty of internal milling though. Whoops. Okay, so I stand corrected. There is plenty of internal milling on the lock side, but on the other side, there's no milling. So it's interesting how they did that. I'm assuming it has to do with the liner coming across and all that, but half is milled, half is not. So that's where you get a little bit of the heavier aspects of the Psyop. And like I said earlier, there are 5 different variations of it. So there is this variation with the milling in the handle back here. And then there's the same variation with the titanium and the blue with just a plain titanium scale. So there's this one and a plain tie. Then you have the 2 sold out versions, which are completely blacked out. So you get blacked out titanium. You get a blacked out blade with sort of a burnt bronze pivot collar, both in the milled handle and the plain handle. Those are both sold out. And then the newest version that just came in, I believe recently to Vosteed, is a stonewashed blade with a kind of anodized purple with bronzed pivot collars, looks really good. And that also has the milling. There is no non-milling version of that. So 5 versions. I will leave a link to the channel or to their website down below if you guys are interested in going and checking it out. Yeah, next up we're going to talk about aesthetic. And I think this knife looks fantastic. It has long been a good-looking knife to me. As soon as I saw it, I was like, man, it looks good. I like the way, you know, it kind of has a curvature going on here. I really like, you know, just a nice drop point, but that swedge up top here, like it is into the blade, looks really good. My mouth was just lined up with the hole. Choil looks nice. I do like the milling. I like the milling and the non-milling versions, but I would have to say I'd probably go with the milling just because I like the way it looks back here. It adds a little bit of grip, adds a little bit of a, you know, break up from just a smooth tie. Again, the pot clip I think looks fantastic. A really good milled clip. And when we're talking about aesthetics. So to me, it's an easy 5. This has been, you know, again, one of those ones that just kind of caught my eye early. It has, you know, continued to impress when it comes to the looks department. So we're going to keep with the 5s and go 5 out of 5 for the aesthetic. Next up is action. The detent on this, I would say, is solid. I mean, it's not, you know, the best. It's also not the worst. It just kind of falls right into that good category. Of course, you get a hole for deployment. You get this front flipper right here, and you have a top liner lock. So thumb flick, works fine, flies right out. Slow roll you can use very nicely. Middle finger flick is money. Just fires out of there. Very, very consistent, which is really nice. And then, of course, you have the front flipper. I will say the detent is better tuned, I think, for the hole deployment. The front flipper you get used to. You kind of just, of course, land right there on the point. And it pops right out. And then when it comes to close, again, you have the top liner lock. Works like a button lock. Push it close and it drops. One complaint I have with this is it's like too inconsistent. I don't know. There's just something about it. You almost have to push. You have to push extremely hard, and the liner has to be completely shoved against the scale for it to drop smoothly. Otherwise, you know, you get kind of like that where you push it and you want to let go, and it's not closing because you have to really shove it in there. And the further you get into that recessed area, and you really, it's kind of cumbersome for your fingers. You do get used to it when it comes to, you know, manipulating it in different ways. I don't know. I really enjoyed the top liner lock version of the Raccoon because it was like a button and I had really good texturing on it. To me, I think that's their best one so far out of the ones that I've handled. And I believe I've handled this. I have handled the Psyop, the Raccoon, the RS Chaos, and the Hedgehog, and I think the Raccoon is definitely the best out of all these because, again, it is a circular button with texturing, where the rest of them are buttons like this, where you have to just kind of shove your finger in there. And again, you get used to it. It's not, you know, the end of the world, but I just, like, I don't know. I just feel like you should, sometimes you really just have to make sure you put pressure on there in order to get it to drop down, you know, completely. To get it shoved over against that scale the whole way. But yeah, I mean, it's just a small nitpick. Altogether, it's still really good to fidget with. Also, with the top liner locks, this one isn't so bad because it's kind of right there by your thumb. But in some aspects of the top liner locks and some variations on different knives, you kind of have to like manipulate your hand to move. To where button locks are literally right up by the pivot, and you just bang. I mean, it's just consistent bang, bang, open, close. This you kind of have to readjust your grip a little bit. It's not bad. You get used to it again, but it's just something to take note with the top liner locks. They're a little bit farther back than a normal button lock, so you just have to be aware of that when manipulating it. I'm gonna go 4.5. I don't want to go any lower than that because there's really nothing else to complain about it. I just have a little bit of an issue with, you know, the way you have to really shove your finger in there to get it to drop. But otherwise, it's good. You know, it's good opening, good closing. Just that small nitpick I have with it, we'll go 4.5. Next up is acoustics. And similarly with what I was just talking about with, you know, having a tough time finding the right touch for this, you really have to get it dialed in to do like the push to drop down. Otherwise, you're getting it to bounce out. I still get to do it all the time. It takes me a little while to get into a routine of, you know, dropping the knife and getting into that consistent like open close. But I think the acoustics are not very good. Considering you get a titanium, you know, frame knife, or not a frame knife, but a titanium bodied knife with plenty of internal milling, the sounds are just kind of dampening. Not really that great. They're not bad, but I'm going to go 4. I don't think it's honestly a little bit disappointing when it comes to the acoustics, I think, on this. But, you know, because I just expected so much better. Regardless, it's still decent, you know, good. So we'll go 4 out of 5. Next up is ergos. And like we talked earlier, this knife is a little bit, you know, thicker. But when it comes to how comfortable it is, it's very good in hand. Choked back, you get a nice finger groove right here, and then it just tapers off. I can get all 4 fingers in the knife very, very comfortably, very easily. You get plenty of jimping up there for your thumb. The clip is, again, sort of flat. You know, gets kind of fatter up here towards the handle, so it distributes kind of the hot spottiness that comes to clips very, very easily. It's very, very comfortable in hand. I really like how it feels. You get the choil up here. You know, for extra grip for push cuts, if you have to do anything control-wise with the knife, you want to be nice and careful with it. That's where the choil will come into play. You guys can see I have plenty of knives sticking out of the back here. The titanium is, you know, nicely contoured and rounded in all the right areas. No sharp edges on this knife whatsoever, so that's very, very good. You know, it's simple. It's very comfortable. So with that, we're going to go 5 out of 5 on the ergos. Next up is carry. Now, you do have about this much sticking up out of your pocket of the knife. I wish they would have somehow made this maybe a 2-screw, or excuse me, a 1-screw system instead of a 2. I don't know if that would have been structurally okay, but I feel like if you would have done, you know, gone from here with 2 screws, you could have gone to like here with 1 screw. And that, not that it's really that big of a deal. I just wish it was a little bit more deeper, because I really like, again, how the clip looks. It functions really well. Super easy to pop in and out of pocket just because you have that really nice, you know, angled out area up here, nice and flat. Goes in and out of pocket really well. Sits out in your pocket like this. You have no flipper tab. You do have a little bit of jimping on the backspacer, but, you know, it's very, very, you know, low key. It's not going to rip your hands or anything like that. So it sits out in your pocket. You know, there is no lefty carry, but I guess that's kind of a given when you have a button lock knife. But, you know, not button lock, but a top liner lock, button lock-esque knife. It does weigh a little bit, you know, for the size. And it is a little bit chunky, a little bit beefy. It's not the best knife to carry. So I'm going to go 4.5. I don't think that it's a perfect 5 out of 5. I would feel kind of wrong, you know, giving it a 5 out of 5. But it's still good regardless. I mean, it's not horrible. Not. I feel like I'm getting a little bit blurred lines with my reviewing system here, but it's not amazing. It's not a 5, but it's not like a 3.5 or 4. It's a 4.5, and we'll just leave it at that. That leads me to my final category of price point / value / what I recommend this knife. So the Vosteed / Tough Knives Psyop goes for $249 on Vosteed's website. Whoops. I think that's a fair price. I don't think that anything more than that is, you know, would be in line for being considered fair. I don't think you're getting a fantastic value. I mean, I think the price point matches up with it, but I'm not going to look at it and go, oh, you know, that's a really good value. Like, I think you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. Like, I think you're getting what you pay for. And I don't have an issue with the knife, but again, I don't think it's a value. But for $250, you know, you're getting the top liner lock, you're getting a front flipper, you're getting hole for deployment, nice titanium scales, beautiful milling, L-Max, you know, great clip. And again, it is a collab with Tough Knives, you know, Jeff. So I think those are a little bit higher priced as as opposed to this becoming or coming out of Vosteed, you know, internally. I think if this was $200, $225, I think that would be a much better value. But in the same vein, I don't think that this is necessarily overpriced. I think it's correctly priced, just not in, on the value side of things. Can I recommend it? Sure. Like if you guys like the way this knife looks and you're interested in getting a top liner lock, I don't think it's a bad knife to get. It's just not, it's just something you have to get used to. It's a little bit of an acquired taste, I think, with the way the top liner lock actuates. And I know some of you guys watching this are probably like, Alex, you're crazy because the top liner lock has been perceived as amazing from Vosteed. And really it has been, but it just hasn't done the things that I thought it would do for me. It doesn't blow me away. I still prefer button locks over it, again, except for the top liner lock Raccoon. That is a fantastic iteration of it. This is a good one. I wouldn't say it's fantastic. And that's kind of where the knife leaves me. As far as values, I don't think it's a value, but I can recommend it. I think it's a good knife. Do I go 4.5? I don't know what to. We'll go 4.5. I don't want to go too low on it because again, it really is still a good knife at the end of the day. It's just not doing everything I wanted it to do for me. But let me count this up here real quick. We got 1, 2, 3. So I have the Vosteed / Tough Knives Psyop falling in with a score of 32.5, which just gets it into the fantastic category. It just squeaks it in. And I think that's fair. Again, not my 100% cup of tea, but I did enjoy it. I'm glad I got to finally put my hands on it. At some point, I would like to check out the Mini Psyop, which is a crossbar lock, obviously at a smaller form factor than this. So that is something I'm interested in getting to check out at some point in the future, hopefully, and comparing whether I like it more than this one. But yeah, 32.5 lands it in the fantastic category. I'm okay with that. I think that's a good landing spot for it. But leave a comment down below. Do any of you guys have the Psyop in your collection? Do any of you guys have the Mini Psyop in your collection? And if you do, do you love it? I'm assuming you don't hate it because you have it in your collection. But, let me know your guys' thoughts down below. As always, I love getting to hear what you guys have to say. But I'm going to wrap this up now. So this was my full review on the Vosteed Knives Psyop. Huge shout out to Lefty, Kevin over at Lefty DC for always letting us check out dope stuff. And huge shout out to you guys as well. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, day, night, whenever you're watching this. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.